What does the CIA triad stand for in information security?
Confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Which security principle extends CIA by adding authentication, authorization, and accounting, non-repudiation?
AAA, authentication, authorization, accounting.
What is the difference between authentication and authorization?
Authentication verifies identity, who you are. Authorization determines permitted actions, what you can do.
Define non-repudiation.
Assurance that a party cannot deny having performed an action, typically via digital signatures or audit logs.
What is the Parkerian hexad?
An extension of the CIA triad adding possession, authenticity, and utility.
What is defense in depth?
A layered security strategy using multiple overlapping controls so no single failure causes compromise.
What is the principle of least privilege?
Granting users only the minimum access rights necessary to perform their job functions.
What is need to know?
Access is granted only to information required for a specific task, even if broader clearance exists.
What is separation of duties?
Splitting critical tasks among multiple people to prevent any single person from committing fraud undetected.
What is the difference between a threat, a vulnerability, and a risk?
Threat equals potential cause of harm, vulnerability equals weakness that can be exploited, risk equals likelihood x impact of a threat exploiting a vulnerability.
Define a zero-day vulnerability.
A software flaw unknown to the vendor with no patch available, actively exploited by attackers.
What is a CVE?
Common vulnerabilities and exposures, a unique identifier assigned to a publicly known security vulnerability.
What does CVSS measure?
Common Vulnerability Scoring System, a 0.0 to 10.0 score representing base severity of a vulnerability.
What is a risk register?
A documented inventory of identified risks, their likelihood, impact, owner, and mitigation status.
What is risk transference?
Shifting risk to a third party, e.g., via cyber insurance or outsourcing.
What is risk acceptance?
Management formally acknowledges a risk and chooses not to mitigate it, typically when cost of control exceeds potential loss.
Define threat modeling.
A structured process to identify, classify, and prioritize threats to a system, e.g., STRIDE, PASTA, DREAD.
What does STRIDE stand for?
Spoofing, tampering, repudiation, information disclosure, denial of service, elevation of privilege.
What is an attack surface?
The sum of all points where an unauthorized user can attempt to enter or extract data from a system.
What is attack vector versus attack surface?
Attack vector equals the path or method used to gain access. Attack surface equals the total set of all possible entry points.
What is social engineering?
Manipulating people into performing actions or divulging confidential information, exploiting human psychology.
What is phishing?
Social engineering using fraudulent email or messages to trick users into revealing credentials or installing malware.
What is spear phishing versus whaling?
Spear phishing targets a specific individual or group, whaling targets senior executives, big fish.
What is vishing?
Voice phishing, social engineering conducted via telephone or VoIP.
What is smishing?
SMS phishing, social engineering conducted via text messages.
What is pretexting?
Social engineering where the attacker fabricates a believable scenario to steal information or access.
What is tailgating, piggybacking?
Physical security breach where an unauthorized person follows an authorized person through a controlled door.
What is a dumpster diving attack?
searching through discarded trash for sensitive information like printed documents or credentials.
What is a brute force attack?
Attempting all possible password combinations until the correct one is found.
What is a dictionary attack?
Trying words from a predefined list of common passwords against an account.
What is credential stuffing?
Using username password pairs leaked from one breach to attempt logins on other unrelated services.
What is password spraying?
Trying a small set of common passwords against many accounts to avoid account lockouts.
Define hashing.
A one-way cryptographic function that maps data of any size to a fixed size output, digest.
What is the difference between hashing and encryption?
Hashing is one-way and not reversible. Encryption is two-way and reversible with a key.
What is a rainbow table attack?
Pre-computed table of hashes used to reverse common passwords by lookup rather than recomputation.
How does salting defeat rainbow tables?
A unique random value is added to each password before hashing, making pre-computed tables ineffective.
What is the difference between symmetric and asymmetric encryption?
Symmetric uses one shared key for encrypt/decrypt. Asymmetric uses a mathematically paired public/private key pair.
Name 3 symmetric encryption algorithms.
AES, 3DES, ChaCha20, Blowfish and RC4 are legacy.
Name 2 asymmetric encryption algorithms.
RSA, ECC, elliptic curve cryptography, and DSA for signatures.
What is RSA used for?
Asymmetric encryption, digital signatures, and key exchange, security based on the difficulty of factoring large primes.
What is ECC?
Elliptic curve cryptography, asymmetric crypto offering equivalent security to RSA with smaller key sizes.
What is a digital signature?
Cryptographic proof that a message was created by a known sender and was not altered, produced by signing a hash with a private key.
What does a certificate authority, CA, do?
Issues, signs, and manages digital certificates that bind public keys to identities.
What is X.509?
The standard format for public key certificates used in PKI and TLS.
What is a self-signed certificate?
A certificate signed by the same entity it certifies, not trusted by default in browsers unless manually added.
What is a wildcard certificate?
A single TLS certificate that secures a domain and all of its first-level subdomains, star.example.com.
What is certificate pinning?
Hard-coding a specific certificate or public key in an application to detect fraudulent certificates.
What is a CRL?
Certificate Revocation List, a CA-published list of certificates that have been revoked before expiration.
What is OCSP?
Online Certificate Status Protocol, real-time check to determine if a certificate is revoked.
What is a PKI?
Public Key Infrastructure, the framework of policies, hardware, software, and people used to manage digital certificates and keys.
What is key escrow?
A copy of a cryptographic key is held by a trusted third party so it can be recovered if the original is lost.
What is a hardware security module, HSM?
A tamper-resistant physical device that generates, stores, and manages cryptographic keys.
What is a TPM?
Trusted Platform Module, a chip on the motherboard that stores cryptographic keys and supports platform integrity measurements.
What is full disk encryption, FDE?
Encrypting an entire storage device so all data is unreadable without the proper key, e.g., BitLocker, FileVault.
Define a block cipher mode of operation.
A method of using a block cipher to securely encrypt data longer than a single block, e.g., CBC, GCM, CTR.
What is AES-GCM?
Authenticated encryption mode, providing both confidentiality and integrity/authenticity in one operation.
What is a MAC?
Message authentication code, a tag using a shared secret key to verify both integrity and authenticity of a message.
What is HMAC?
Hash-based message authentication code, a MAC constructed using a cryptographic hash, e.g., HMAC SHA-256.
What is a key exchange protocol?
A method for two parties to establish a shared secret over an insecure channel, e.g., Diffie-Hellman.
What is the difference between Diffie-Hellman and RSA?
Diffie-Hellman is a key exchange protocol. RSA is an encryption/signature algorithm. ECDH is the elliptic curve variant.
What is perfect forward secrecy, PFS?
A property where session keys are ephemeral, so compromising one long-term key does not reveal past sessions.
What is a VPN?
Virtual private network, an encrypted tunnel across a public network providing confidentiality and integrity for traffic.
What is the difference between SSL and TLS?
TLS is the successor to SSL. Modern systems use TLS 1.2 or 1.3. SSL 3.0 is deprecated and insecure.
What does HTTPS add to HTTP?
TLS encryption, server, and optionally client, authentication, and integrity for HTTP traffic.
What port does HTTPS use by default?
TCP 443.
What port does HTTP use by default?
TCP 80.
What port does SSH use by default?
TCP 22.
What is SSH used for?
Secure remote command line access and file transfer, replacing unencrypted telnet.
What is the difference between SFTP and FTPS?
SFTP is file transfer over SSH, port 22. FTPS is FTP with TLS, ports 989/990.
What is a stateful versus stateless firewall?
Stateful tracks active connections and context. Stateless inspects each packet independently against rules.
What is a WAF?
Web Application Firewall, a firewall that filters and monitors HTTP traffic to from a web application.
What is a next-generation firewall, NGFW?
A firewall combining traditional filtering with deep packet inspection, IDS/IPS, application awareness, and threat intelligence.
What is network segmentation?
Dividing a network into smaller zones, VLANs, subnets, to limit the blast radius of a compromise.
What is a DMZ?
Demilitarized zone, a buffer network between an untrusted network, internet, and a trusted internal network, hosting public-facing services.
What is a jump server, bastion host?
A hardened host used to access and manage devices in a separate security zone.
What is east-west traffic?
Network traffic flowing between servers within a data center or cloud environment, as opposed to north-south, client to server.
What is a SIEM?
Security information and event management collects, correlates, and analyzes log data from multiple sources for security monitoring.
What is SOAR?
Security orchestration, automation, and response platforms that automate security operations, workflows, and incident response.
What is the difference between IDS and IPS?
IDS, Intrusion Detection System, monitors and alerts. IPS, Intrusion Prevention System, blocks traffic in real time.
What are false positives and false negatives in IDS?
False positive equals legitimate traffic flagged as malicious. False negative equals malicious traffic not detected, more dangerous.
What is signature-based detection?
Matching observed activity against known patterns of attack, e.g., snort rules.
What is anomaly-based detection?
Flagging activity that deviates from a learned baseline of normal behavior.
What is a honeypot?
A decoy system designed to attract attackers, study their behavior, and divert them from real assets.
What is a canary token?
A trap element, file, URL, credential, that triggers an alert when accessed, used to detect intruders.
What is DLP?
Data loss prevention, tools and policies that detect and prevent sensitive data from leaving the organization.
What is the principle of least functionality?
Systems should run only the applications, services, and protocols absolutely required for their function.
What is port security?
A switch feature limiting which MAC addresses can communicate on a given port.
What is ARP poisoning?
Sending forged ARP messages to associate the attacker's MAC address with a legitimate IP, enabling MITM.
What is a DNS poisoning attack?
Corrupting a DNS resolver's cache to redirect users to malicious sites.
What is a MAC flooding attack?
Overloading a switch's MAC address table to force it into hub mode and capture traffic.
What is a rogue DHCP server?
An unauthorized DHCP server handing out incorrect network configuration, including a malicious default gateway.
What is VLAN hopping?
Gaining access to a VLAN not normally reachable, typically via switch spoofing or double-tagging 802.1q frames.
What is a man-in-the-middle, MITM, attack?
An attacker secretly intercepts and possibly alters communication between two parties who believe they are talking directly.
What is TLS stripping?
Downgrading a user's HTTPS connection to unencrypted HTTP via a MITM, exposing session data.
What is ARP?
Address Resolution Protocol maps IPv4 addresses to MAC addresses on a local network.
What is a replay attack?
An attacker captures and maliciously resends a valid data transmission to trick the receiver.
How does TLS protect against replay attacks?
By using nonces, sequence numbers, and session tickets that expire or are unique per session.
What is the Kerberos authentication protocol?
A ticket-based authentication system using a key distribution center, KDC, to authenticate users in a Windows/AD environment.
What are the three parts of Kerberos?
Client, application server, and key distribution center, KDC, consisting of authentication server and ticket granting server.
What is a Kerberos ticket?
A time-limited token issued by the KDC proving a client's identity, used to access services without resending credentials.
What is Radius?
Remote Authentication Dial-In User Service, a AAA protocol for centralized authentication, authorization, and accounting, often for network access.
What is TCAX Plus?
A Cisco AAA protocol that separates authentication, authorization, and accounting and encrypts the entire payload, unlike Radius.
What is the difference between Radius and TCAX Plus?
Radius combines authentication/authorization, encrypts only the password, UDP. TCAX Plus separates all three A's and encrypts the full body, TCP.
What is LDAP used for?
Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, querying and modifying directory services such as Active Directory.
What is SAML?
Security Assertion Markup Language and XML-based standard for Federated Single Sign-On, SSO, exchanging authentication/authorization data.
What is OAuth 2.0?
An authorization framework that allows third-party apps to obtain limited access to user resources without exposing credentials.
What is OpenID Connect?
An identity layer on top of OAuth 2.0 providing authentication, verifying who the user is, using JSON Web Tokens.
What is federation?
Trust established between two organizations' identity providers so users from one can access resources in the other.
What is single sign-on, SSO?
A user authenticates once and gains access to multiple independent systems without re-entering credentials.
What is MFA?
Multi-factor authentication requires two or more of something you know, have, are, do, or somewhere you are.
What are the 5 MFA factors?
Something you know, password, have, token, are, biometric, do, behavior, somewhere you are, location.
What is a TOTP?
Time-based one-time password, a 6 to 8-digit code generated from a shared secret in current time, e.g., Google Authenticator, RFC 6238.
What is an MAC-based OTP, HOTP?
An OTP generated from a counter value and shared secret, used in hardware tokens, RFC 4226.
What is an evil twin attack?
A rogue Wi-Fi access point mimicking a legitimate one to capture credentials of users connecting to it.
What is a deauthentication attack?
Sending forged Wi-Fi DOth frames to disconnect clients, often to capture WPA handshakes.
What encryption does WPA3 use?
Simultaneous authentication of equals, SAE, providing forward secrecy and resistance to offline dictionary attacks.
What is the difference between WEP, WPA, WPA2, and WPA3?
WEP equals broken RC4, WPA equals TKIP transitional, WPA2 equals AESCCMP, WPA3 equals SAE, strongest, forward secrecy.
What is a captive portal?
A web page users must interact with, accept terms, log in, before gaining network access, common on guest Wi-Fi.
What is a DDoS attack?
Distributed denial of service, overwhelming a target with traffic from many distributed sources, botnet.
What is the difference between DOS and DDoS?
DOS uses a single source, DDoS uses many distributed sources, making mitigation harder.